Hello once again and welcome to the PokerStars Arena hosting this week's Sunday Million. Two things different about this week's event. First of all, it's a PKO, it's a progressive knockout, so bounty, 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 come get some. Plus, the guarantee, $1.5 million instead of $1 million, but guarantee, schmarantee. With more than 20,000 runners, nearly 20,500 runners, you're looking at a prize pool this week of $2,046,600. Hello, it's James Hartigan alongside Joe Stapleton.
Hello, my knockout babies. What's happening?
Well, I tell you what, Joe, why don't we get straight to the action at our first feature table in tonight's Sunday Million. A couple of players to highlight here, and important to point out that we are coming back for day two with 138 players. Scratch that, 137. Someone eliminated on the very first hand of the day. Going down the lobby, I think it's fair to say that, you know, you peruse the number of the players and you think, okay, there aren't many names that I recognize there. But a couple of players I want to highlight. The first is the chip leader, Aki RD22, who's at this first feature table. The single biggest stack with more than 4 million. And the other player, and I know that you love stories like this, Joe, qualifier alert, Papa Bear 187. Qualified for $11. And this is someone who's never played an event with a buy-in bigger than $22 and has not had a cash before bigger than $277. So
hot dog.
Absolutely. That's a great story to watch. And of course, being a PKO, it's not just the money that's advertised on screen. Obviously, those are the payouts for the top 9. Every time you knock someone out, that's real money in your PokerStars account. You see the target symbol. You see what they are currently worth, what their head prizes currently are.
Nothing like instant cash deposited into your account. For some of us, that's the only way.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, everybody's well into the money. But making the top 10 or 11%, not that easy for some of us. Sometimes we just got to hope to get lucky and take 1 or 2 bounties.
So it is Sarah Rauj against Zuki here. And Sarah with the best hand, pair of tens, second pair. Zuki with just ace high. Zuki is a mid-stakes regular from Finland. Had a decent result in the Sunday Million 12th anniversary back in 2018. A 44th place finish for nearly 22K.
If Zuki had a bathing suit in the shape of squash, would you call it a zucchini?
Wow, we're 3 minutes in, and already we've hit that level.
Already killing it. Yeah. Already crushing.
Yeah, no, you are. You're going to kill it. That is 100% accurate.
Already on fire.
So Sarah wins that hand. Time to introduce the third member of our commentary team. Thrilled to be joined this evening by Nick Walsh. How are you, Nicholas?
I'm just fantastic, guys. Thank you very much for having me again tonight. How is it going, everybody?
Hey.
So yeah, pick this table, Nick, for the chip leader, Akiadi, and for Papa Bear, the $11 qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can imagine, in a $109 buy-in event with more than 20,000 runners, when you get down to the last 130-odd players, tough to kind of know who everyone is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing that we've seen a lot of in these Sunday Millions is that great opportunity to see some fresh faces. You know, sometimes when we're doing the bigger buying events, seeing a lot of the old standbys, a lot of the beasts of this game, which is fantastic to see. But it's also great to come and do these Sunday Millions where we get to see some more unusual play, or have the opportunity to discuss how much of a discrepancy there might be between like the super superior GTO regs and the kind of players that might make it down to the final 200 or so here in the Sunday Million. Love to see it.
What Nick's diplomatically saying is be on the lookout for some real fish moves here, guys.
Look,
how's it going, Chad? I miss you guys.
I mean, obviously, we did a few of these streams before Christmas, and, you're right, Nick, in that it's different. It's a different event, but I enjoy it. I love the unpredictable nature of some of the play, but also, let's be brutally honest, if you're talking about an event that has more than 20,000 runners and has to be done in 2 days, the structure is going to be quite fast and furious, right? It needs to push itself towards a conclusion tonight within decent working hours. So, realistically, you are going to see a little bit more gamble.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I guess also the same could be said of many of our blowout events, though, as well. Blowout series events as well. I mean, a lot of those, we were coming back with fewer players, though, as well. I think that's probably also worth noting. So, yeah, there is definitely some truth to that. I mean, I think that's one of the scariest things about the Sunday Million is even at this stage, you've made it past so many players. You're getting right into the money now, and you still have so far to go. You still have several flips to win before you're really going to be able to get all the way down into it. And yeah, that is a terrifying prospect, especially for somebody that tends to play a lot more sit and goes than MTTs, I can tell you.
I just want to address a couple of questions from chat. Zamako says, how many left? Red Pixel asks, how many players left? I think a better question is, how many players are still here, right? We don't want to know how many players have left the tournament. We want to know how many are still in.
Yeah, and again,
that's 129. Thank you.
Exactly, and I think it's important to highlight, Joe, that we said this again before Christmas when we stream the Sunday Million. It's a bit more of a stripped down production. We don't have as many of the graphics as we would have when we stream the Blowout series or W Coop. So yeah, we don't have the field ticker, but we'll keep you up to speed at regular intervals. But Joe is right. Actually, it's now down to 128. So we've already lost 10 players in the first 6 minutes of action. That is only to be expected. Average stack is quite shallow. The other thing to highlight, of course, and we've seen this time and time again, guys, with everything we've covered online, PKOs, these progressive knockout events tend to play faster. And people are more willing to take risks, Nick, justifiably so, to grab those head prizes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many interesting dynamics that we can pick apart this evening, and we will do absolutely. Looking forward to that, where we have these sort of conversations about like, I'm pretty sure he's limping here because I think he wants to give himself the opportunity to win a bounty if just the shortest stack goes all in. But then you have this leveling war, especially as you get down to the final, 40 or so players where you've got a higher concentration of stronger opponent. And we're seeing people with these leveling wars, right? Just somebody with the biggest stack just shipping it in with any ace just because they know it's a power play to try and get one of those weaker stacks to fold where they were purely just bounty hunting in the first place or something like that. And I think that adds a really interesting dynamic, to this kind of a tournament.
So here's what we know about our chip leader. Akiardi is from Brazil. In fact, Brazil currently 1 and 2 on the leaderboard. The second biggest stack is a player called Elias30, who's playing 4.2 million right now. But Akiardi is the chip daddy with 128 remaining. A best online score came back in 2018. A first place finish in a $109 Battle Royale PKO for $10,745. Worth noting that this player came 9th in a blowout event 2 weeks ago, a $109 buy-in event for nearly $5,000, is a big fan of PKOs, mainly plays knockout events, and has top pair here against a flush draw.
And that bounty is in play for Jaded Jason.
Yeah, I like the size here on the turn. I think you got to really punish. I mean, when you get people floating here, they will get sticky with some Queen X. They will get sticky with Jack X. Also, of course, you want to punish those draws, get as much value as you can before you see that dreaded club on the river.
Jaded Jason facing the raise. Has the same hand reversed, but folds.
I approve of this username. I like that. I think a lot of people, after playing a lot of poker, might become somewhat jaded. Naming no names, Joe Stapleton.
Well, also,
I'm pressing my Pocket Rockets button on my Stream Deck. Where is that going right now? Is it just like a tree falling in the forest?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not even sure the computer that would receive that command would receive it right now, but this is Sharper PS. Re-raising with the aces. It was Sarah who opened with tens.
You've just launched nukes somewhere, Joe. two nuclear warheads have just been just fired out of a shopping mall somewhere.
And if Sarah gets it in here, no, folds. I was actually going to ask whether, because I noticed the Buffalo Bills avatar for Jaded Jason. I'm interested if Jason was jaded before last night's AFC Championship game, or whether Jason changed their username following the result.
Or change their photo. Probably easier.
I can tell you I was very jaded after watching that Packers game. I am originally from Wisconsin. I am a cheesehead. What was that decision? What was that? Why would you not go
Nick,
for the
it's very
win?
simple. You're down by a touchdown, so kick a field goal so that you can still be down by a touchdown.
I know. Don't tell me, James. It was horrible. Oh, I can't stand it. Anyway, guys.
I mean, there's got to be some kind of reason for that decision, no?
I think the algorithm said yes, but I don't think it made any sense. I think it would have been such a glorious moment in football history had they pulled it off. So why not go for the gold and the glory?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to be angry that you didn't kick the field goal, right? Like, it's not.
But the great question, are we having this conversation if you kick the field goal, recover an onside kick, drive it down the field and score a game-winning touchdown?
I mean, I probably, because I know nothing about American football except when to complain, really.
Well,
so.
Yeah, I mean, we're all great armchair coaches, that's for sure. Jason winning that one with a pair of fives. Blinds have gone up, by the way, to 25K, 50K, playing with 15-minute blind levels until the conclusion of the Sunday Million, and it will conclude tonight. 124 remaining. They will play down to a winner.
That's why I prefer poker, because you can go for the glory, whole cards.
And we've got top pair here for Papa Bear, the qualifier.
Yeah, Jaded Jason here opts not to put in the C-bet, and I think I am a fan of that. I think we've seen quite a lot of this, since we've been doing the cards up stuff. When people are flatting in position there, they're going to have a lot of they're going to have some sets there. They're going to have hands like Jack 10 there. They're going to have hands like King Queen there. And yeah, he's right on the money. He just kind of just knows this isn't really a spot where he wants to battle too hard. I think a lot of people, even with gut shots in this position, would still float at least once. And then what do you do unless you pick up a flush draw with the ace-3 of clubs? So I do appreciate the slowdown there. And I think it's those little adjustments in perceived range and your perception of how you can proceed in the hand that make you a better tournament player, where you could just save yourself some chips, save yourself the heartache, and just go ahead and check fold it there, even though you do have the backdoor clubs.
Okay, here we go. Could have a coin flip on our hands. Sarah Rausch opening with nines. Zuki re-raising with ace-king. Now, we saw Sarah fold tens to a 3-bet, so actually maybe nines gets folded here.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, slightly different setup than the previous one, but at this stage in the tournament, I guess it boils down to whether or not it's going in.
Is going in, and there's an ace on the flop, and that will see Zuki eliminate Sarah Rausch. KO. Bounty claimed, player eliminated, and that table has been broken. So let's go across to table number 511, and Akiadi, who is still chip leader with 117 remaining, has been moved to this table.
Barely chip leader, though, huh? How about Matt? Matt Zord.
Yes, Matt Zord has moved up the rankings, and you're right, Joe. We've got 1 and 2 in chips at this table. Akiadi number 1, Matt Zord number 2.
So we saw a c-bet from the king-jack here. Sorry, I'm not sure if it's a c-bet or a lead. I think it might have been a lead with the king-jack in this scenario, but a quick slowdown on the turn. Nines have got to be really confident they're winning here at this point, but probably not enough value to be had. But yeah, I think nines make the right decision here. It's one of those spots where, like, it's obviously we need to take into account, pay jumps and stuff like that. But I think we're still pretty far away from the moments when you're going to want to make too many big adjustments in terms of getting it in pre-flop. At this stage, obviously, we still have a while before the next pay jump. So getting it in there with nines plus, I think, is pretty reasonable, depending on how frequently you think your opponent is going to be 3-betting you there.
Is there a formula for determining how much a bounty is worth versus laddering up another spot?
I'm sure there is. I'm not super well versed on it when it's in this deep stage, though, Joe. So, like, when we're playing Grand Tour, for example, something I haven't played for a little while now, it's a lot easier just to go ahead and calculate the value of the bounty in terms of the chips that it represents, and then you can make adjustments in terms of your required equity pre-flop, or indeed even when you have a draw. Like if an opponent goes all in on the flop and you have some sort of a draw, you can actually include those theoretical chips that represent the bounty value in the equation for whether or not you want to gamble. But once we get down to this stage in the tournament, it kind of skews. That sort of formula doesn't make as much sense, because you're getting a lot closer to potentially a very big money payout if you can go all the way. So I'll have to defer on the specifics of that, but there is a way to convert bounty value into chips. At this stage, though, a little bit difficult to use that one. Probably isn't appropriate.
I'm all about inappropriate. The only part of that I understood.
So we've got King 7 versus 8-5 here. Top pair versus bottom pair. And Shaken Toucan. Huge favourite now. Bets big on the turn. 161,000 into 245,000. Gets a fold.
Hartigan.
Hartigan.
And now it's former chip leader Akiadi.
Guys, I think I'm done with Queen suited for a while.
Really? It's your favourite hand, right?
It is my favorite hand. We're on the outs right now. Look at this. This is it right here. What happened to flopping top pair?
Or even better, imagine flopping hearts here and letting Gremio there think that they might have a flush draw. There you go. Worked out for King Queen. Reclaim the chip lead. Job's a good
do it. Oh, pocket sevens here. Yeah. Seems pretty reasonable.
Raise and take it. So down to 111 players now. And I would imagine that at some point it will slow down. But, I mean, the average stack is still reasonably shallow.
Yes, indeed.
That's a big stack. Yes, just fold it. Don't risk it.
He gives them the old horseshoe, makes the fold.
Well, interestingly, these two players are now competing for second place on the leaderboard. Ace Slayer 727 from Canada is the current chip leader with a stack of 4.9 million. So still close between the top three, in fact between the top four in chips right now, but officially Ace Slayer is number 1, Akiadi number 2, and Matt Zord number 3.
So Jack 9 comes in for the c-bet here, Jack 9 suited, and the King 5 going for the check raise the roo. Yeah, I don't mind it. I think it could have gone either way with his specific stack depth there. But given the fact he didn't have any clubs, you know, it also seems pretty reasonable for him to want to try and get max value from some draws that'll be in there. You know, he'll still get floated there by like some queens and some jacks and stuff like that too. They don't make up that many combos, but I think with a hand as weak as King 5 and the stack that he had, I think you're always going to go bust with top pair there. So you might as well get value from all of the above. So I think I do like the check raise at this point.
It's Nick Walsh approved.
Nick will allow it.
I'm pleased.
I'll allow it. Okay. Coming in with the flat with the king queen in position. Again, we're seeing lots and lots of this. And again, this is a very similar setup to the one we just saw where we saw the suited ace give up on this texture. Will the sevens do the same? It's a little bit of a different proposition, though. Sevens obviously with a lot more showdown than the pure ace high that we saw just one moment ago.
Now you give up.
It's going to cost you a bet there, sevens. Yeah, it is very difficult to play sevens in this situation. Oh man, I mean, checking seems tantamount to just purely giving up, which isn't really what you want to do when you're the pre-flop raiser. I think with his stack depth, though,
just give up.
I might have been tempted. I might have been tempted just to give it up, but it feels so bad in poker just to be the pre-flop raiser and feel like you're giving up flops and giving your opponent opportunities to bluff you. So I do feel the pain, and I think the bet is probably going to be okay as well.
Don't call it off with sevens.
Oh wow, this is an interesting spot. The overbet shove. I mean, this is where the sevens levels themselves into like, well, if he had a king, he'd probably just bet, right? He wants to get value. He must have the draw. He must have a combo draw. But no, good fold. And I think in tournament poker, you should probably avoid making those very long, sort of like awkwardly perceived calls.
Yeah, I don't want to make it clear that that was specific, situational advice there, where I said don't call it off with sevens. It made it sound like it was some kind of saying or edict or life lesson. No, in that specific situation, don't call it off with sevens. And I don't just say that because I could see that the other player had a king.
No, he does.
James Hartigan, masterclass on poker, 1 page. Don't call it off with sevens.
Nick, what would you say your percentage of hero calls in life are being correct versus being incorrect? I'll tell you, I'll start. I'm probably 1 for 8, 1 for 9. Like if every 9 times I hero call, I'm right.
Well, okay, so that's a great question. I mean, I think that's a really hard thing to ask anyone because I think everyone's idea of how frequently their hero calls are right is always skewed more towards like, yeah, you know, like at least 50% of the time. I don't know. I think I might have to defer to the chat. We got a lot of my regs in the chat today. What do you guys think? Like, I feel like my hero calls are usually very well reasoned. You know, I think my hero calls are also very rarely just like, I got a feeling. You know, I think I've got a lot of support behind when I make the hero calls. There's plenty of clips of me making some like really sick jack high calls and stuff like that and getting those right. So I guess that means when I've got stronger, it's got to be pretty frequent. I don't know, chat. What do you think?
Well, Frankster 2000 says Nick's hero calls are legendary, but I'm going to question, okay, so the time that Nick makes a jack high hero call, they turn it into a clip and it goes viral. What about all the times when he's wrong? Is anyone clipping those?
No.
Look, legendary doesn't say whether he's right or wrong.
That's true.
My hero calls are also legendary. Really bad.
Okay, James, this is one of the joys of being a content creator on Twitch. You can pick and choose. My Instagram looks like I might be the greatest of all time. No, I think in all honesty, I think I'm pretty good. But you know, we can get some more votes in the chat. Let me know what you guys think. I think apparently John Delano says I'm usually about a 75%er. So okay,
again, doesn't say in which direction.
I love it.
So, for those of you who have just joined us, this is not the final table of the Sunday Million. We will hit that final table later on tonight, and this is going to play down to a winner. But right now, there are 105 players remaining. This is our feature table where we have two of the biggest stacks remaining: Matt Zord and Akiadi, plus the other players that we're coming to know and love.
It's always coming to know Sivian.
Indeed. Who has flopped top. It was Domination Nation pre, and Domination has been reassertationed on the flop. Just roll with it. Go with it.
Yeah. Ace Jack here. Again, you're kind of tempted. It's kind of an uncoordinated board. Sometimes you can float and get him off, but he does make the good fold there, and I think it probably is the right move. It's kind of tricky. Depends how aggressive your opponent's going to be. If they're the one and done sort, I think you probably could afford to float one there. But
Domination confirmation. That's the one I was looking for. Although making up words is sometimes fun.
Domination reiteration from Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Also works.
Yeah. Domination continuation.
It does, although the problem there is that the continuation bet, you're kind of mixing your poker terminology, and that's dangerous.
Right.
It's like crossing the streams.
Never cross the streams.
Raise here from Tarumbi. Oh, sorry, Tarumble. I thought it was an I at the end. It's an L.
To rumble in the jungle.
Let's get ready to rumble. Ace on the turn.
James, do you have Hulu?
It's not in the UK.
Yep.
I watched something on Hulu last night that blew me away. I was going to try to add it to our pop culture discussion for the podcast in a couple of weeks.
No, we have to rely on Hulu shows being picked up by other broadcasters in the UK. Like Handmaid's Tale, for example, got picked up by Channel 4.
So
this is a one-off, so I'm wondering if maybe it's available elsewhere for you guys.
Possibly.
What is it called?
It's called In and of Itself. It's a magic show. It's like a live magician.
There's a lot of Hulu content that just doesn't make it to this side of the Atlantic.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was unaware that even Handmaid's Tale was a Hulu product. I didn't realize that.
So Jack's all in, and Shaken Toucan is going to flip that coin, and there is a Jack on the flop. There were straight possibilities. That full house on the river will give Aurelio the double up, and Shaken Toucan down to $1 million. Blinds currently 30,000, 60,000.
Shaken but not stirred.
That
got
Tom
another one of
Hanks
these spots,
movie,
right, with the pocket pair.
Oh yeah. Joe, just
News of the World?
Yes. So, did you say that's on Netflix in the US already?
No, it's available. You can rent it.
I think it's coming to Netflix next month in the UK.
Yeah, I saw that too.
We're getting that new Denzel movie on Friday also. The one with Denzel and the guy from Mr. Robot. Jared Leto. Looks pretty cool. That's going to be on HBO Max. Along with King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh, yeah. How do you guys feel about that one?
I'm pretty sure my life won't be too adversely affected if I don't see it.
I would love if 1 month from now James is on stream and he's like, that movie changed my life forever. we can do a little callback on James.
I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I can judge that film by its title.
Oh, man.
Wow, gets the hero call from Ace King. Speaking of hero calls gone wrong. I'm not going to say anything about it, but I did watch Tenet.
Okay. Meanwhile, we have Vimora all in with Ace King. Doesn't get any action. Picks up the blinds and antes. Down to 99 players now. Fewer than 100 remain in this week's Sunday Million. A reminder that for 1 week only, it is a progressive knockout event. There are bounties on the players, so the prize pool divided between the sums you receive for your finishing position and the head prizes you get for eliminating other players. Guarantee of 1.5 million this week, but that guarantee smashed with more than 20,000 entries, a prize pool of more than $2 million.
Yeah, that's absolutely sick. You love to see those guarantees being smashed out of the park. Okay, so we got a bet here on the turn with the 8-9 with the gutter, with the belly buster. Ace-4 does, of course, call. Probably just going to be a check call river unless 8-9 goes really crazy here, although they do have a less than pot size bet behind if they did want to push. I mean, they might convince themselves they're trying to convince a queen to fold or something like that. The 10x would lead here quite often, but does make the correct check. Very nice.
Oh, okay, a chance for the toucan. Oh, scratch that. I was thinking of
Buckle up, buckaroos.
I was thinking of flipping jacks against ace queen, and then I saw the kings.
Buckle up, buckaroo.
Just when I was saying, a chance for Shaken Toucan to get back in this game.
Look at the flat from the kings.
Ooh.
Ace queen. Get in there.
I'm reminding you, play poker.
Play poker. Sorry, guys. I'm reminding you, play poker. Thank you.
Oh, Barry Greenstein makes an appearance. The ace queen wins the pot, and Shaken Toucan is eliminated. And that will see Turumble become one of the biggest stacks. Confirmation that Turumble from Canada is now the chip leader.
Sorry.
Oh,
Very
man.
Canadian, very on brand. Vivian says, you're not sorry. I bet they are.
So, we were debating what that throwable is actually meant to represent. Maybe
Yes.
it was foreshadowing. It's where you make a bad decision. Just like the Packers kicking a field goal instead of going for the touchdown. It's like, poor decision. You shouldn't have been in there with ace queen, but you got lucky.
Shouldn't play those weak aces.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. Jack 10 of clubs. Yeah, I mean, the flat from the kings there, very cheeky indeed. Obviously got the result that he was looking for, but not the result he was looking for by the time the board had come down. Yep, sorry about that, guys. I set an alarm to remind myself about this, but apparently it was a bit late.
Nick sets himself an alarm for an hour after he was actually required. And to be fair, Nick, you were there on time, so you don't even need to set the alarm.
I'm always here on time. I don't know why I said it. It's like great at showing up on time, terrible at setting reminders. Well, I guess that's a good way to be.
Wonder how Turumble's going to handle this.
Leave Turumble alone.
Turumble. Sounds like he was one of the Wombles or something.
It sounds like they are often asked, are you ready?
Yeah.
Turumble. Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Vimora all in with the snowmans. Gremio folds the 9-6.
John Delano says, makes sense. The calendar is always late. Alexa will be late too. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You'll note the calendar is off-brand correctly.
The calendar's just so Nick can learn numbers and days of the week.
Oh man.
Ace high still ahead here.
So how many teams are left now in the NFL?
2. It's the Super Bowl decided.
So it's the Buccaneers and who?
The Buccaneers and the Chiefs. So the Chiefs are the first team to win the AFC Championship back-to-back since the Patriots did it near enough 20 years ago. And also, it's the kind of showdown that people wanted. It's Brady versus Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Could I have a flip
so
on
all
our
my
hands
Brady
here?
and Mahomes cards just went up, huh?
Well, I don't think Brady or Mahomes had low value before. Oh, what's happened here? 10-7 calling, getting a little bit frisky, trying to win that bounty of Gremio.
Oh wow. I mean, this is in a really interesting spot because, of course, that initial. Whoa.
I mean, are we just clicking buttons, guys?
Yes, and I am here for it. 2 clubs.
Oh my God.
Oh my lord. And the belly buster to go with it for the 10-7 of clubs here.
Give me some broccoli. Come on.
So come on, 8's still ahead right now. We've got gut shots. We've got flush draws. This is.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised that 10-7 didn't just get this in. Well, okay, what's the pot at right now? I'm kind of surprised that 10-7 didn't just get this in.
What a result for Gremio. What a
Gremio
result.
gets the quad up, the absolute quad up. Wow.
That sword back on top now.
Wow. What is he saying?
He's saying, well played, Matsord, because you made me fold a losing hand, because 8's would have, he possibly would have lost more on the river. No, of course not, because the King Jack was all in. The King was all in.
Yeah, yeah, it was a dry pot. Exactly, yeah. James, yeah. Oh no, that was a really interesting spot. I mean, I guess the amount he was all in for wasn't that much.
No.
Of Matsore's stack, but you are running the risk that the big blind or the initial raiser just go ahead and punt it against you once you flat it, because.
Okay,
right.
well, Gremio does not survive this collision, and Gremio eliminated in 92nd place, taking us down to the final 91. And as far as chip stacks are concerned, former chip leader Akiade is on the short side right now with 2.5 million. Matsord is number 1 in chips with 5.7 million. Meanwhile, Tarumble is 5th in chips. So we have got 2 of the top 5 on this feature table, including the overall chip leader, Matsord.
But plenty of stacks over 5 million. All pretty close at the top.
A couple of people in the chat pointing out that it wasn't, in fact, a dry pot. Right. So, sorry, the action, guys, it went... The 8s opened, the smallest stack shoved, Matsore flatted, and then the big blind min 3 bets?
Yes. Akiade decided to 3-bet with 6-5 suited.
Okay. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate that. You're right. The deuces are in. I mean, you're
like
always
the Buccaneers versus the Chiefs. One of these 2 hands has a slight mathematical advantage.
Deuces
Counterfeited.
do loses when they get counterfeited on the river. Horrible run out for Vimora, who's out in 87th. They are still falling fast. Tarumble, now 2nd in chips. We have got a player called Necro Jack who's got over 7 million. Tarumble 2nd on the leaderboard with 6.1 million.
I mean, these 7s are going to be really tempted to push, especially with the dead money there from the small blind flat here.
So Kojak has flatted. Doobie Fish decides to get it in. And Doobiefish, the at-risk player. Jacks are holding no 7. And that is another KO. The elimination of Doobiefish and former chip leader Akiadi. Back on track now, 4.4 million, but crucially, has eliminated so many players that Akiadi is now officially the biggest bounty on offer. $1,773 up for grabs if you can eliminate that Brazilian player.
Awesome.
Fireworks indeed. Sivian really likes King Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. Gets the fold, though.
Okay, we've got Ace Jack versus Aces here. A lot of big collisions.
Oh, this is going to be a really interesting spot. I mean, I don't know if I'm a fan of the flat from the Ace-10 here. You do open yourself up. You're giving your opponents the opportunity to 3-bet you as a bluff here a lot more frequently. In this case, he actually had the aces, which I thought might have resulted in a call as a result of that dynamic, but it just gets through on this occasion. But yeah, flatting with ace-10 off once there's been an open from that kind of a position is kind of awkward because you do give some of the bigger stacks behind you the opportunity to 3-bet you as a bluff where there's additional dead money to be won if they're doing a sort of squeeze play bluff situation. Here's an action flop.
Pair for Sivian. Nut flush draw for Akiadi. We've also got Stereo Love involved in this pot with 8s. 213,000 apiece.
I mean, ace-10's got all the chippies here. You can pile on the pressure if you want at this point. There's so much. Yeah, I love it. I love it. This is how you play the hand. It's important to point out this is not a pure flush draw, excuse me. When you have the ace in your hand, you will very frequently have tons of equity. Huge pickup there for ace-10 of diamonds. You love to see it.
Top pair to fold.
Yeah, and Akiadi back up over 5 million. Got Sivian to lay down queen 10 in that spot.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot.
And Sivian says, "This is why I hate Brazil."
Made me. So he's simultaneously saying he hates Brazil because Brazilians play aggressively whilst also folding top pair against what he perceives to be a very aggressive opponent. Interesting.
Made me fold a bad queen. No one made you do anything. You chose to fold the bad queen.
That's true.
These Brazilians, man, they're always bluffing. Ah, you got me, though. I folded top pair. Interesting.
Next blind level, 35,000, 70,000.
Where's Sivian from that they get to be so racist?
Investigate, Joe, and report back.
Well, if this doesn't drag, nothing does. Actually, I don't know what this flag is.
Yeah. Once again,
I think it's
really clear push here.
I'm too ignorant to be racist. I don't even know what country that is.
Sivian is from Denmark.
I don't think kings are going to fold.
Hey, Aurelio.
Oh, sweaty.
Oh, gets that.
So sick.
Oh, Brian.
Disgusting.
This man called Brian exits in 80th place, taking us down to the final 79. We're playing down to a winner tonight. Okay, Sivian, you're not folding aces.
King's no good here.
I like the open from 8-7 here, though. I like how wide the larger stack is playing. Oh, man.
Oh, I was wondering how long it would be until someone decided to sling a turd.
Things James Hartigan never thought he would say in his professional career. Oh, no. defends with the 9-10 of clubs and finds the belly buster with the flush draw. Of course you're calling. It's a bounty tournament. You have a huge draw.
Oh, sick. Monster draw.
Not enough. And can you imagine, I get the impression Sivian would not have been a happy camper if Farona would have got there.
He would have attacked at least one more nation.
Speaking of which, guys, I meant to check on stars. I think we might have a new throwable available.
Who's we?
we the people. We the people who are allowed to who are actually allowed to play on stars. I do apologize.
My PokerStars experience is amazing. I get to buy play money chips. It's really the best of all worlds. Guaranteed minus EV.
And you have a lot of laughs along the way, and you get a whole 3 throwables?
You get the firework. You get the tissues.
Yeah.
I think that's
You get the horseshoe.
it.
Everyone gets the horseshoe.
If they opened up the throwables for the play money people to just buy them, they would score huge. People would pay for them. 100%.
All right, not much going on here.
I would just love to know, like, let's say you charged, even if it was like a microtransaction, right? Even if you said, right, we're going to charge 50 cents for the poo throwable.
Per use?
No.
Just to own it.
Just to own it, right? But how much money do you think you'd make? How many people will be willing to pay 50 cents to throw poo? And am I setting the price too cheap?
I think it's too cheap. I think you sell them for $1.99 a piece, or all of them for like $29.99 or whatever. Whatever the
No, I mean
math works out.
That's not the business model, though, right? Like, you got to do it the same as like they do like guns in Call of Duty, where you buy like a themed pack where you get like a set of 5 that all have a similar vibe, and then you do oh, this is like the pretty princess, like pink version, and then you have like the commando, like rebel pack or whatever,
The bathroom toilet pack. Lighting people on fire pack. The passive aggressive pack. Yes, I think if you, let's say you sold a pack for $9.99, I think they would make $1 million. No problem.
James, in response to your question, how much would they make if, regardless of whatever the model was? The answer is loads. People love the customization. People love the ability to troll is an important part of the internet, I think.
Yeah, I do think that they do work best when thrown in context. The random use sometimes is like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have the mighty 8-6 versus 6 deuce. And on to the next hand.
So Joe, what throwables go into the passive aggressive pack? I want to know. I think
the
we're onto
horseshoe,
something
the
here.
tissues.
I don't know.
A tiny violin.
I don't know if that's passive aggressive enough. I think maybe it should be like you throw a Post-it note that just has really, really obnoxious phrases on it, and it's always in Comic Sans, the font Comic Sans, to try and drive home the passive aggressive nature of the memo.
Maybe like a poker book.
Love that. Like a little coupon that's like a subscription to like PokerStrategy.com or something like that.
Oh, hello, Full House.
All Aurelio needs is for this board to run out the way Queen Jack always runs out, and they will not lose any more money.
Well, Aurelio decides to go for it. Bluffs 238,000 into a pot of 376,000. Stereo Love calls.
Man, it's such a wet board. That didn't really miss, so maybe you don't bluff at this again.
Well, you're not given the opportunity. Stereo Love goes for value on the river. Roughly half pot.
Yay. Yay being in position.
I mean, like, maybe I would have preferred to have seen them go, like, really small, made it look like a blocker bet, possibly get a crying call from ace high because the board is paired, but then also give your opponent the opportunity to, like, try and rep an 8, right? Because if you had trip 8s there, you probably wouldn't be betting it's like a blocker bet size. So you kind of have a two-pronged attack, right? It looks blocker betty, so you might get some bluffs, but also you're going small enough where you might get some huge hero calls from like ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack, that kind of thing. Or, you know, even some other smaller pairs that might still be in there too. But I think half pot, a little bit too scary. Doesn't give your opponent that many opportunities to turn their hand into a bluff.
Go on, Matt Sword. Make the 6 high hero call. Oh, you've got a pair of 4s. Make the pair of 4s hero call. Nice.
I think I kind of get destroyed watching these games, watching the blowout series, watching the stadium series, and then go back to my home game and sort of assume that people are bluffing with the same frequency that they are in the blowout series, which is why I'm wrong 90% of the time.
Got to play the player, Joe. You got to play the player.
It's not the same. It might be the same software. Different players.
Oh, man. Ace-9 of hearts here, picking up the nut flush draw and, of course, the overcard. As we mentioned earlier, very, very potent to have that ace in your hand because sometimes you'll have an extra out, or extra outs, excuse me, to hit when you spike your top pair.
We get a bricky turn card, and Akiadi near enough a 3-1 favourite with ace jack high. Of course, the gut shot, the belly buster. Aurelio over bets.
Oh, Aurelio.
Hmm.
You got to. You got to bet here. Look at that.
So we've seen some of the big stacks of this table get a little bit shallower. That said, Matt Sword's still in the top 10. Senex 250 from Austria is the current chip leader with 75 players remaining. Senex currently playing a stack of 8.6 million. Tumble is the table chip leader here, and Rumble is currently 5th in chips overall. Interestingly, Nick, I think you made a reference to the Wombles earlier on. Tomsk was a Womble, and Euratomsk is involved in this pot.
Oh.
I assume Wombles are some sort of very terrifying thing from the UK that is supposed to be for children.
You're half right. They are for children. There is nothing terrifying about the Wombles. They are incredibly cute.
Yeah, I think there was some scary characters in sort of English children's television, but I don't think the Wombles were part of that. They were pretty lovable.
There were times when Great Uncle Bulgaria got a little bit grumpy, but he wasn't really scary. Also, it was a very positive message. It was talking about the importance of recycling and the importance of cutting down on waste decades before it became imperative to human survival. Making good use of the things that we find, things that the everyday folk leave behind. Wimbledon Common, which is just down the road from me. I digress. Ace and Queen's good here.
Is there a Womble with the first name that is the C word? Because if so, I've heard of them.
No. And also, when you said the C word, that wasn't the word I was thinking of.
No, the other C word.
Check raise. That's right.
Oh, Domination Nation. Ace King opening, Ace Queen behind. Plus, we got pocket tens for former chip leader Akiardi.
10th of the mix.
Interesting spot.
Tens flat.
Don't forget, guys, as well, Akiardi was the same gentleman who flatted with the kings in a similar position earlier on. And our friend Tarumble was the one that put it all in against him. Fell into the trap with ace queen in a very similar fashion. I think that time it was ace queen off. Ace king, of course, in a very interesting spot. I think he's always putting the money in here, though.
Yeah.
At this stage, he's only got about 30 bigs total. So, of course, it's just going to go in. Puts all in but one. 10's out of the way. He wasn't afraid of getting it in with ace queen last time. This is a slightly bigger proposition, though.
But it's a sizable bounty, $1,743.
It is indeed, yep.
More than half your stack, though. I like the fold.
Okay, makes a good fold against the hand that was actually in play. But as James pointed out, those bounty dollars, man, they feel good.
Well, now picks up ace king on the very next hand. Sivian with queen six suited does not defend. Really,
did you ever watch? Sorry, James. Did you ever watch Stingray and or what's the other one? What's the other puppet one?
Thunderbirds?
Thunderbirds.
Wasn't a huge fan. The only one of those puppet shows that I liked was Captain Scarlet, which had a little bit of a darker edge to it, but also it was the only one where the heads were in proportion to the bodies. I'm a big fan of verisimilitude, and I appreciated the anatomically correct puppets in Captain Scarlet.
I was a fan of all three. I thought Stingray was great. I must have watched like 4 seasons.
As an adult or a child?
As an adult, I don't know how it came about, but when I was like 16 or 17, well, I guess I wasn't really an adult. A friend of mine just had a huge box set of these that his dad had, and we just sat and started watching them ironically, and then ended up watching way loads of it. So Stingray was like this sort of fictional like action, like rescue the planet in our submarine thing. So everything was always sort of submarine or aquatically themed, and people would always, they'd be tied up and they were about to die. You have 5 marine minutes remaining before the bomb goes off, and everything was always marine minutes. So it was really funny.
I'll tell you what, Nick, the one thing that was consistent across all of them is they all had great theme tunes. You will notice that we have reached the first break, and during that first session, we lost a lot of players. This event began with 20,466 entries. We came into the day with 138 players, 72 remain going into the first break. And right now it's Senex 250 from Austria, who is the chip leader with 8.3 million. A reminder that we are playing down to a winner tonight. First prize of 70k plus head prizes. But a few things I wanted to address during the break, and we can carry on talking about puppet shows from the 1960s as well, if you like. I just want to pick up on the fact that our first podcast, Joe, of 2021 was released last week. I'm interested to know, Nick, if you know what a box break is, because Joe's big into this now and talked about it on the podcast, and I'd never come across it before. Are they on your radar?
A box break is that some sort of a break beat? That's music producer might, because there's like the Halo drum beat, right, which is like what Jungle uses, or I'm assuming no from the last.
No. To be fair, I didn't know what it was. It's all about collector's cards, like sporting cards. And Joe has been taking part in these things and is getting all these really valuable. Oh my God.
James, I might have picked up some Niners for you.
So a box break is making reference to when you get an unopened pack which potentially has valuable cards and you break them open. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So the price of sports cards has gone
Okay.
up so much that if you want to buy a box of them now, it's about $1,400.
Yeah, no, I do actually know what you're talking about because I watched something like that on YouTube where they open Magic the Gathering, like original packs or something, where there's potentially like a $7,000 card inside the pack somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exciting. Actually, that's a lot of fun to watch.
So I've been doing those.
And you've picked up some valuable cards, right?
I mean, I picked up. Okay, so I was going to save this for the podcast, but I guess we have somewhat crossover audiences. So the Kobe card that I picked up, currently on sale on eBay for $19,000, $20,000. It turns out now, a lot of these times when you buy a box of cards, you're guaranteed one auto per box, right? One autograph.
Right, gotcha.
And a lot of times now what they do is if you open the pack where the autograph is supposed to be, you'll get what's called a redemption card. And the card will say, you've won a Tom Brady autograph. Please mail this in. We mail it to you.
Okay.
Well, it turns out that Kobe card that I got, there are 25 of those in existence, supposedly. It turns out a bunch of those that got sent out were redemption cards. Redemption cards that cannot be redeemed now.
Okay, I see.
So the company that made the cards is now having to make good on these cards that they can't make good on and coming up with these crazy prize packages to give people that won them to compensate them. But it turns out that the card I got is probably the last card Kobe ever signed.
Wow. All right.
The value on that is very likely to go up even more based on this news that just came out yesterday.
That's incredible.
Where Panini said, we don't have any more Kobe autographs. They're gone.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's amazing. That's incredible. I mean, so is it numbered so we would know that it was going to be one of the last ones ever produced? Is the pack, numbered in some way, shape, or form so that was like the last run that he did or something?
The pack isn't numbered, but it's an on-card autograph that he signed. So we know, it was in his hand.
I see.
And we know that only 25 were ever going to be produced. We don't know how many of those 25 actually did get produced. So far, there's 3 that we know.
Incredible. But those cards you were thumbing through just now, Joe, I'm sure loads of those are just run-of-the-mill cards, right? They're not all kind of worth extraordinary money.
No. In fact, most of the cards I have that are worth anything are in the $40, $50 range.
It's still
like for example, I got really lucky and I went to Target and got lucky because they sell out all these stores. I got lucky and they were just happened to be putting some out when I went there. And I picked up this Marcus Davenport autograph card.
Wow.
To be in there. Not a huge player, obviously. Plays for the Saints, but every once in a while you pull something cool. I got what else I have here? I've got a piece of Jonathan Taylor's jersey here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe, let's pick up this conversation in an hour's time because the players are returning from break. I'm going to take a short break, but I will leave you in the company of Joe and Nick.
Hello, my babies. Welcome back to poker, the original form of skill-based gambling. There's no skill to open up a box of cards. I just pay money and then let people tell me how much I won or lost. 72 remaining here in the PKO Sunday Million. 70,000 up top, not including the bounties. Pocket queens here for A. Aurelio.
That's pretty cool though, Joe. I'm not much of a sports fan, but I do like the idea. I do like the idea of the box breaking. I have watched sort of stuff like that. That was not sort of sports related, but it's interesting, man. That's really cool. So when will you have sort of further confirmation on the sort of valuation of that card? And is there a number in your head that you let it go for, or is it just going to be? You're going to give it to your children and your children's children, and They're going to wear it like a pendant around their neck.
Well, one thing is that there's this whole rating system that you have to send it in to be rated.
I understand.
And for a card value that high, that costs $1,000.
Okay.
So I got to send it in. I got to get it rated. If it comes back with a bad rating, then I have to pretend like I never had it rated.
Okay.
And just sell it as is. I could